And welcome to The Issue Is. I'm Elex Michaelson. This week, the president's potential impeachment continues to dominate the conversation. Joining us now from Capitol Hill is Democratic Congressman Elex Swalwell. He represents the Bay Area in Congress. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, welcome to The Issue Is for the first time.
Thanks so much, Alex.
So the impeachment question. You've heard a lot of evidence. You've heard a lot more evidence than most people because of some of these meetings that you've been in. Based off of what you have heard so far, is there any way that Democrats don't impeach President Trump?
Well, the president's going to get a fair hearing, and that is going to be the case even though he has confessed to it and Mick Mulvaney has co-signed that confession. But just to kind of lay out what we're looking at here, you have a crime of possibly extortion, bribery, soliciting a foreign government to help your campaign. It doesn't seem to be that there's much dispute about the crime. You have the president essentially on that call record asking the Ukrainians to investigate his opponent and leveraging the aid to the Ukrainians unless they did that. And then yesterday, Mulvaney, of course, confirmed that. And we have a cover-up. So crime, confession, ongoing cover-up and efforts to prevent Congress from learning what's going on. He still is entitled to a fair hearing. He's going to get that, but we're going to move as expeditiously as possible because of the stakes of an upcoming election and national security implications.
Have you heard enough evidence so far to vote for impeachment?
Well, I want to make sure that the hearing is fair. I was a prosecutor before I came to Congress, and even in cases where the suspect confessed to the crime, it was important because of our system of law and the rule of law that people get a fair process. So I want to make sure that, we hear from the witnesses. And Alex, we've asked them, the White House and the State Department, to provide witnesses and documents, and they refuse. And so we can only conclude that that is a consciousness of guilt.
Part of the reason that they are refusing, they say, is because there has not been an official vote in the House for an impeachment inquiry to begin. Even if that's not required, why not have a vote, if you have the votes, and just to take away that talking point?
Well, in the history of investigations, no investigator has allowed a suspect to dictate the terms and the timeline of an investigation, and we're not going to let Donald Trump do that. And, we're not interested in talking points. We're interested in, the evidence and the Constitution and the oath that we all swore. And we also are mindful that Donald Trump is loosey with the football here. If we had a vote that we're not required to have just to satisfy Donald Trump, he'll come up with a new reason the very next day as to why he's not going to cooperate.
The key thing that Democrats have identified as a problem is President Trump withholding aid from Ukraine. But there was an incident a few years ago when Joe Biden was vice president himself, where he talked about the U.S. withholding aid to Ukraine. We want to play this and then get your reaction.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference and said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
What do you see as the difference between those two?
It's a fair question. The difference is that at the time, and still today, the official foreign policy position of the United States was that aid for Ukraine would require Ukraine to root out corruption. And the prosecutor that the vice president was referring to was widely viewed internationally as a corrupt prosecutor. And so the vice president was executing the stated foreign policy of the United States. Here, the president in that phone call with President Zelensky of Ukraine is not talking about corruption writ large in Ukraine. He is talking about the Bidens and investigating the 2016 election, which essentially would exculpate Russia. So there's a big difference. The vice president was acting in the interest of the United States taxpayers. Donald Trump was acting in the interest of his upcoming election.
There's a lot of other issues. We could go on impeachment all day, but there's also a lot of big issues back home. And one of the biggest issues back home is what's going on with PG&E, where more than 1 million Californians had their power taken off preemptively out of fears that these lines could spark a fire like what we've seen in the past. Is this a sustainable process where for all the months where there's potential fire danger, people are just in the dark? And is there something that went wrong with the management and the regulation of PG&E from the Democrats in California that created this situation in the first place?
Well, we can't live this way. PG&E has to make clear to the taxpayers that we are spending wisely to prevent future fires caused by, wind debris being blown into their transmission lines, and they need to move quickly. I don't think there should be any bonuses for anyone at PG&E. I think all of the money right now needs to be spent on hardening their systems, and it's unacceptable that we would have any more fire seasons like this.
Another big story this week, the debate between the presidential candidates. Of course, you were on stage for the first presidential debate. I'm wondering sort of what goes through your mind when you watch one of these debates, and sort of what were some of the most important takeaways for you from actually running for president?
I very much enjoyed watching that debate from my couch. And my wife asked me, she said, "Are you thinking in your head of how you would answer each of these questions?" And I told her, "No, I'm thinking in my head how relieved I am that I don't have to answer these questions, and I can evaluate these candidates as someone who would work with them in Congress, and also as a father of 2 kids who cares deeply about what their policy means for our families."
But you're not ready to endorse yet?
No. And, actually, I've talked to many of them privately about gun safety, which is an issue I'm really passionate about. And I enjoy, just seeing that issue elevated on the debate stage.
Sure. Okay. Well, when you are, come make news on the issue is. But something else we like to do on the issue is we like to have some fun. So we're going to play a game. This is called Either Or. So this is where you got to answer either this or either that. Okay? Rapid fire here. Giants or A's?
Oh, Giants, but we love the A's.
Okay.
We love the A's, but Giants. You got to pick one.
Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends.
Beer or tequila?
Ooh. I was at an airport bar and I ordered a beer, and the guy asked me if I wanted for $5 a tequila shot, and I said, why not? So I think I can take both on that one.
Oh, there you go. Big man. And finally, this was the week of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations.
Yeah.
So 2 of the nominees this week.
Okay.
Dave Matthews Band or Doobie Brothers?
Ooh, I'm going to go Doobie. Full
Doobie Brothers. I'm surprised a man your age would pick Doobie Brothers, but we've got a little Doobie Brothers for you. Taking it to the streets, which I think is good for a politician, right? Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you so much. We appreciate it.